Welcome back to the BookCast. Today, we are unpacking every layer of the incredible novel, The Scarlet Letter. Get ready for a deep dive into its characters, themes, and the hidden meanings behind the story.
That's right.
We're about to journey into the heart of Puritan New England, and I promise you, we'll uncover some surprising facts and truly thought-provoking insights along the way. We're going to navigate this intricate narrative, understand its profound characters, explore its enduring themes, and really try to uncover the subtle, often hidden meanings woven throughout the story.
It's an essential journey. When Nathaniel Hawthorne published The Scarlet Letter back in 1850, he deliberately subtitled it a romance.
Right, a romance, which sounds maybe a bit different to us now.
Exactly. For a 19th century audience, that didn't signify a light love story, not like we might think of it today.
Yep.
Rather, the genre of romance was more like a license for authors. It let them explore deeper psychological truths, moral dilemmas, often against a really vivid historical backdrop without being, strictly bound by realism.
So more freedom to explore the inner stuff.
Precisely. It allowed Hawthorne to delve into the inner lives of his characters, their struggles with guilt, hypocrisy, defiance, in a way that felt both deeply personal and, honestly, universally resonant.
Yeah.
This isn't just some classic tale. It's really a foundational text in American literature. It invites us, even today, to reflect on these enduring questions about societal judgment, individual conscience, and that profound, often really painful struggle for authenticity.
Absolutely. And to really grasp the layers Hawthorne built into the story, we have to start somewhere, maybe a little unexpected, but it's actually crucial.
Yeah.
His lengthy and deeply personal introductory chapter, The Custom House.
Ah, yes, the Custom House. Often skipped, I think.
So often skipped. Many readers might be tempted to just blow past it, thinking it's just the author talking about himself before the real story starts. But I would argue it's the very lens through which Hawthorne wants us to view Hester Prynne's tragic tale. He presents himself not just as the novelist, but as a former surveyor in the Salem Custom House.
Right, he puts himself right in there.
He does, giving us this meta-narrative, like a story about the story he's about to tell. He's basically saying, look, this isn't just fiction I dreamed up. I'm grounding it in my own experience, authenticating the narrative I'm about to share.
It's a fascinating literary move.
Isn't it? He mentions having written autobiographically before about his time in an old manse, and now he's detailing his 3 years within this specific kind of decaying setting. It almost feels like a ritualistic preparation for the dark tale ahead.
Precisely. And that framing device, the whole found manuscript idea,
Yeah.
it's masterful.
Yeah.
By presenting himself as merely the editor, or very little more, of this historical document he supposedly found, Hawthorne subtly distances himself from the more scandalous aspects of Hester Prynne's story.
Clever. So he can critique without getting blamed directly?
Kind of, yeah. It allowed him to critique Puritan society without sort of directly owning every controversial idea himself. But it's not just about narrative distance. It's deeply personal for him.
Right, his connection to Salem.
His ancestral connection to Salem, his native place, it's profound and really complex. He reflects on his family's 2-century-old roots there, and he acknowledges this stain left by his persecuting Puritan ancestors.
Like the witch trials.
Exactly. Their severity towards Quakers, and yes, the martyrdom of the witches. This personal history is just a huge foreshadowing of the novel's core themes. Ancestral sin, inherited guilt, the crushing weight of societal judgment.
Wow.
It's almost like he's wrestling with his own Puritan heritage before he even introduces Hester.
That makes sense.
And then there's that delicious irony of his stern forebears, the ones who would have considered his chosen profession as a writer of storybooks a completely degenerate pursuit.
Right. Not a proper job for a Puritan.
It's not at all. This clash between those rigid societal values and artistic individual expression, that's a central tension that just resonates throughout the entire novel.
That tension, yeah, that sense of a fading past, sort of struggling with an unformed present, it's so palpable in his description of the custom house itself. He paints it as this dreary, decaying building, burdened with decayed wooden warehouses, just this ghostly shadow of its former bustling commercial glory. You can almost smell the damp, the dust.
Yeah, the forgotten ambition.
Exactly. It sets this incredibly melancholic tone, doesn't it? And within these crumbling walls, Hawthorne introduces us to this truly unforgettable cast of characters who seem almost as preserved, as fossilized, as the building itself.
Like relics.
Totally. He depicts this patriarchal body of veterans-aged sea captains, old officials often asleep in their chairs, their jobs maintained more by political inertia than any real purpose.
Right.
But one figure, the permanent inspector, really stands out. Hawthorne describes him as a most wonderful specimen of wintergreen at 80 years old, a man whose entire existence revolved around his physical well-being and remembering good dinners.
All about the food.
Completely. He recounts anecdotes about the inspector's almost heroic gourmandism, his ability to vividly recall flavors from 60 years before, and his chief tragic event. It was just a tough goose.
Tough goose. That's brilliant.
It's this moment of profound humor, right? A touch of mundane, almost absurd reality amidst this otherwise serious introspective setup.
That contrast is so essential because it really highlights a deeper thematic struggle within Hawthorne himself. This inspector, totally absorbed in physical pleasures, memories of food, he stands in stark opposition to the narrator's own intellectual and, well, spiritual struggles. Hawthorne observes quite pointedly that a custom house officer of long continuance can hardly be a very praiseworthy or respectable personage. Yeah. He suggests that the mighty arm of the Republic, while providing security, also saps individual strength and, crucially for an artist, the creative faculty.
It kills creativity.
That's the implication. This isn't just a complaint about bureaucracy. It's really an indictment of how conformity can stifle the soul. He vividly describes this spiritual torpor impacting his own experience there. His imaginative faculty refused to act, leading to this hopeless toil in his writing.
He couldn't write anymore.
He confesses it. He says he had ceased to be a writer of tolerably poor tales and essays and had become a tolerably good surveyor of the customs. That was all.
Wow, that's bleak for a writer.
Isn't it? This personal crisis of creativity, this feeling of intellectual paralysis, it's not a distraction from the main story. It becomes the very fertile ground from which the rediscovery of Hester Prynne's story springs.
Ah, so the block leads to the breakthrough.
Exactly. It's framed as a remedy and consolation for his artistic stagnation. It's a profound statement, really, that sometimes the most deeply resonant art emerges from personal tribulation and that search for meaning.
And it's in this atmosphere of personal artistic crisis within those dusty, forgotten rooms that our author makes this pivotal, almost mystical discovery.
Yes, this is where it gets good.
He stumbles upon a small package, carefully done up in a piece of ancient yellow parchment. Inside, he finds a commission for a surveyor, Jonathan Pugh, dated 1752.
Okay, historical detail.
But far more compelling, he finds a small roll of dingy paper containing what he describes as a reasonably complete explanation of the Scarlet Letter itself.
The backstory.
Imagine the chill of finding that. But the real dramatic, almost supernatural turning point comes when he finds the old Scarlet Letter itself. He describes it with incredible specificity. Precisely 3 inches and a quarter in length, embroidered with a gorgeous luxuriance of fancy.
He actually holds it.
He holds it. And then he recounts this electrifying, deeply unsettling experience. A sensation not altogether physical, yet almost so, as of burning heat, when he dared to place the letter on his own breast. It caused him to shudder and involuntarily let it fall upon the floor.
Whoa. Burning heat?
Its chilling, visceral detail immediately tells you this isn't just some historical artifact. It's a living symbol, imbued with immense power.
That burning sensation is incredibly potent, isn't it? It's Hawthorne's way of showing the enduring, almost transgenerational power of the past.
That the feeling itself survived.
Exactly. It's as if the artifact, imbued with Hester's original suffering and defiance, reaches out across a century to seize the present moment and the author himself. This isn't just physical, it's symbolic transference. It links the narrative's themes of inescapable guilt and transmitted suffering directly to the author's own psyche.
Wow.
And the discovery gets even more amplified by the imagined ghost of Mr. Surveyor Pugh.
Right, the ghost.
This spectral figure who basically asks, what right had my parchment to be left rotting when Hester Prynne's human spirit demanded a real and truthful history, acts as this almost supernatural command. It inspires the author to fulfill his destiny to write the tale.
So the ghost tells him to write it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It transforms this personal, almost accidental discovery into a profound public mission. It marks Hawthorne's return to writing as a literary man, even though the Custom House experience made his intellectual machinery rusty, as he puts it. This powerful transition just highlights the profound contrast between the mundane, soul-sapping reality of his government job and the imaginative, soul-stirring world of literature. He's not just writing a story, he's answering a call.
And what a call it is. From the musty confines of that 19th century custom house, Hawthorne, with this amazing literary flourish, just yanks us back 2 centuries.
Boom, back in time.
We are now violently plunged into the stark, rigid world of 17th century Puritan Boston. The opening scene immediately grounds us in this deeply unforgiving landscape. It opens at the prison door, where a throng of bearded men in sad-colored garments and women are gathered.
Waiting.
They're all there waiting for a public spectacle. Hawthorne immediately underscores the grim realities of a new colony needing both a cemetery and a prison. He famously calls the prison the black flower of civilized society.
Powerful image.
Chilling. It is. It suggests that even when you're trying to build a utopia, the seeds of punishment and death are already there. Yet with a master's touch, he offers this poignant counterpoint. A symbolic wild rosebush by the prison door.
Ah, the rosebush.
Yeah. Offering fragrance and fragile beauty to the prisoner as he went in and to the condemned criminal as he came forth. It's this small, beautiful hint of nature's pity, a moment of grace amidst the crushing severity of human judgment.
That rosebush is incredibly important. It's an immediate, subtle challenge to the absolute rigidity of that Puritan society. This opening sequence establishes a world where religion and law were almost identical, right? Public discipline wasn't just a deterrent. It was a venerable and awful display of communal power. There's basically no room for individual transgression or mercy.
Very strict.
Very. But what truly stands out is the crowd itself. Hawthorne contrasts the general solemnity with the raw, almost brutal, coarser fiber of the English-born women there.
The women are harsher.
Some of them, yes. These women, more recently arrived, exhibit a boldness and rotundity of speech that Hawthorne says would startle us at the present day. They're fiercely eager for punishment, embodying the most unforgiving aspects of the community's moral code.
Wow.
He gives a specific, chilling dialogue, like the hard-featured dame of 50 advocating for women to handle malacactresses, demanding even harsher penalties than the law required. And another cries, "This woman has brought shame upon us all and ought to die. Is there not law for it?"
Good grief. Bloodthirsty.
It vividly illustrates the intense societal condemnation and the pervasive communal pressure to enforce moral codes with this almost bloodthirsty fervor. It's not just a legal system, it's a collective judgment, almost a public shaming ritual.
And then into this cauldron of judgment steps Hester Prynne.
Here she comes.
Her entrance is absolutely dramatic. It's almost a performance of defiance. Despite everything, she walks with natural dignity and force of character, even pushing away the beetle who tries to guide her. She steps into the open air, as if by her own free will, holding her 3-month-old infant, Pearl.
Wow. Takes control even then.
She does. Hawthorne immediately paints this striking portrait. She is tall, with a figure of perfect elegance, with dark and abundant hair, and a beautiful face which, under the baleful shadow of a disastrous cloud, somehow shines out, making, as Hawthorne puts it, a halo of the misfortune and ignominy.
Beauty amidst the shame.
But of course, the central unavoidable image, the one that defines her, is the scarlet letter, so fantastically embroidered and illuminated upon her bosom. This letter, he tells us, had the effect of a spell, taking her out of the ordinary relations with humanity and enclosing her in a sphere by herself. It's not just a mark, it's a boundary, a whole world of its own.
That ornate A is just incredibly rich in symbolic significance, and Hester's actions immediately give it this subversive power.
How so?
Well, the Puritans intended it as a simple, stark mark of shame, right? Meant to humble and ostracize her. But Hester, in this almost defiant act of creation, chooses to elaborately embroider it with gorgeous luxuriance, gold thread, crimson cloth. So artistically done, it had all the effect of a spell.
She makes it beautiful.
It makes it beautiful. This act transforms a punitive symbol into a statement of individuality, a quiet yet profound act of resistance. It's art born from degradation.
But it still hurts her, right?
Oh, absolutely. We mustn't forget, even as she defies them, the letter still seared her bosom. It highlights the internal agony it represents, the profound, inescapable suffering. Her defiant beauty shining through sets her apart, making her a figure of both shame and this peculiar grandeur. It underscores the idea that while the community intended a simple, humiliating mark, Hester, maybe unconsciously, transformed it into something complex. And by doing that, she unwittingly set herself on this unique and arduous path of self-definition, one that would redefine the very meaning of the symbol itself over time.
It's an almost unimaginable psychological torment, though, that walk to the scaffold. Physically short. From the prison to the marketplace, but described as measured by the prisoner's experience, however, it might be reckoned a journey of some length. For, haughty as her demeanor was, she perchance underwent an agony from every footstep.
Every eye on her.
She stands on that scaffold, the platform of the pillory, for 3 excruciating hours, exposed to 1,000 unrelenting eyes. It's ritualized public cruelty, and during this ordeal, her memory, heightened by the extreme stress, becomes preternaturally active.
She starts remembering things.
Vividly. Scenes from her past in Old England, her decayed house of Greystone, her parents, and then with a jolt, this crucial premonition, another countenance of a man well stricken in years, a pale, thin, scholar-like visage, with eyes dim and bleared by the lamplight.
Ah, the solace.
This fleeting, haunting image of a past colliding with her present is incredibly powerful. It sets the stage for an even deeper layer of the drama about to unfold.
That psychological torture, the public shame, the relentless scrutiny, it forces Hester into this profound internal struggle. Memory becomes both a coping mechanism and, well, a fresh source of pain. The heightened emotional state makes her mind race, bringing back moments from her life before all this. And that man, well stricken in years, a pale, thin, scholar-like visage with those dim eyes and thin fingers.
Yes.
That is, as we soon learn, her long-lost husband, Roger Chillingworth.
Oh, so she sees him in her mind before he appears.
Exactly. This immediate visual recognition, even as she stands condemned and isolated, sets up this chilling premonition of the intricate, inescapable web of fate that's about to ensnare all the main characters. It immediately establishes him not just as a figure from her past, but as this looming, potentially malevolent threat within the narrative. His arrival coincides perfectly with her lowest moment.
And just as Hester is enduring this profoundly public shaming, an unexpected figure actually materializes in the crowd.
Right on cue.
It's a white man, clad in a strange disarray of civilized and savage costume, accompanied by an Indian. He's small, with a furrowed visage and remarkable intelligence in his features. You immediately sense there's something deeply significant, unsettling about him. He experiences this moment of powerful emotion upon seeing Hester, a shock of recognition that he instantaneously controlled. It reveals this formidable inner discipline, or maybe a chilling capacity for concealment.
He hides it well.
He does. This man then engages a Tisman in conversation, subtly, almost clinically, learning about Mistress Hester Prynne and her evil doings, and the tantalizing riddle of the baby's unknown father.
He starts digging immediately.
And the stranger's pronouncement about that unseen father is absolutely chilling. He will be known. It leaves us with no doubt about his singular, sinister intent.
And this is where the plot truly thickens, doesn't it? The novel's psychological torment begins its inexorable descent. This stranger, as we quickly understand, is Roger Chillingworth, Hester's long-lost husband. His delayed arrival means he's been in the dark about her transgression.
So he arrives to find her on the scaffold. Imagine.
The dramatic irony for us, the audience, is almost unbearable as we watch him piecing it together, understanding the immediate and insidious threat he now poses. His transformation is stark. From a scholar, a man of quiet thought, he is immediately consumed by this desire for vengeance.
It changes him instantly.
You see it in his bitter smile and a dark and self-relying intelligence that suggests this new, dangerous purpose. And his previous sojourn among the heathen folk, his knowledge of simples, medicinal herbs, and roots, that's highly significant.
Why is that?
Well, this experience grants him not only medical skill, but also this sinister, almost preternatural aura. It hints at a darker, more manipulative nature cultivated during his time in the wilderness. He's no longer just a distant scholar. He's become something far more dangerous. A man with a focused, almost predatory obsession.
That sinister aura, that barely suppressed malevolence, it becomes even more palpable when Chillingworth makes his way into Hester's prison cell, now presenting himself as a physician.
The doctor arrives.
Hester, sensing his presence, almost falls into this immediate quietude, a chilling recognition, perhaps, of who he really is. He brings medicine, a soothing draught, to calm her distressed infant, Pearl, a disturbing act of apparent compassion.
Compassion.
Then, with this chilling calm that just doesn't match his inner turmoil, he tells Hester, "The child is yours, she is none of mine." He goes on to explain that he seeks no direct, immediate vengeance on Hester for her betrayal. He frames their mutual wrong as a situation where the scale hangs fairly balanced between them.
Oh, please.
He claims he wronged her by marrying her, a young, passionate woman, while he was old and scholarly. It's this calculated, unnerving display of composure that just sends shivers down your spine because you know his true motives are far from balanced.
His composure, as you say, is a mask. It hides a far more insidious and patient form of revenge. Chillingworth's true vow isn't for immediate physical retribution against Hester. That would be too quick, too simple for him.
So what does he want?
Instead, he sets his sights on a prolonged, agonizing psychological torment of the unknown father. He declares his relentless purpose with almost terrifying clarity. "I shall seek this man," he says, "as I have sought truth in books, as I have sought gold in alchemy. There is a sympathy that will make me conscious of him. I shall see him tremble. Sooner or later, he must needs be mine."
Chilling. He wants to torture him mentally.
Exactly. This sets the stage for years of hidden suffering, moral complexity, and a slow, methodical destruction of a soul. It prompts us to consider the very nature of true vengeance. Is it swift public punishment or drawn-out internal agony? Chillingworth chooses the latter, a slow dissolution of a spirit, ensuring far deeper suffering than any public punishment could inflict.
And Hester.
Hester, for her part, is coerced into giving a solemn oath to keep his identity secret. She's bound to his dark purpose, becoming an unwitting accomplice in the torment to come.
After her release from prison, Hester Prynne faces this choice, one that really defines her character. She's kept by no restrictive clause from leaving Boston. She could just disappear, start over somewhere else.
But she doesn't.
No, she chooses to remain. It's this powerful act of self-imposed punishment, a profound, almost spiritual commitment to her fate. She believes that here should be the scene of her earthly punishment, and so perchance the torture of her daily shame would at length purge her soul.
Wow. She stays to be punished.
She settles in a humble cottage on the outskirts of town, within the verge of the peninsula, isolated on sterile soil, a physical manifestation of her social outcast status and her internal landscape of shame and penance. It's a life chosen for profound, self-sacrificing reasons.
Hester's choice to remain is absolutely central to understanding her journey and the novel's themes: penance, psychological attachment to one's past, the indelible impact of significant life events. Her sin has become the roots which she had struck into the soil, anchoring her to this very place. What's truly insightful here is how she earns her living. She becomes an exceptionally skilled seamstress.
Her needlework.
With her good skill at her needle, she provides for herself and Pearl, fashioning these elaborate ruffs and gauntlets and hoods and scarfs for the very community that ostracizes her.
That's ironic.
Deeply ironic. The people who condemn her publicly quietly rely on her exceptional talents for their garments. It's a silent testament to her skill, maybe a subtle acknowledgement of her unique artistry. The one thing she's forbidden from making, though.
What's that?
Bridal veils. A poignant, symbolic reminder of her exclusion from conventional purity and acceptance. A boundary she can never cross in this rigid society.
And then there's Pearl, the elf child. Hester's living embodiment of the Scarlet Letter.
She's something else, Pearl.
She's not just a character, she's a force of nature, a symbol brought to life. Hester dresses her magnificently in rich tissues and gorgeous robes, letting her wild imagination run free, almost as an act of defiance against the drab Puritan sumptuary laws.
A splash of color in a gray world.
Exactly. Pearl's own temperament is fiercely unique. A wild, desperate, defiant mood, a flightiness of her temper, inheriting, as Hawthorne puts it, her mother's warfare of Hester's spirit. But perhaps most unsettling, most heartbreaking, is Pearl's incessant and often deeply torture-inducing fascination with the Scarlet Letter itself. She constantly grasps at it, smiles at it, draws Hester's attention to it in ways that cause infinite torture. She's a living mirror reflecting Hester's pain.
Pearl truly functions as a living symbol, doesn't she? A constant, visceral reminder of Hester's sin, and a source of both immense joy and profound anguish. Her preternatural activity, her fierce independence, her creation of an adverse world of imaginary enemies, the Puritan elders she pelts with stones.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. And her poignant lack of human playmates all starkly reflect the societal isolation and internal conflict stemming from Hester's transgression.
And the Puritans saw her as, what, demonic?
Often, yes. They feared her as a demon offspring born through the agency of their mother's sin, believing her to be tainted. This makes Pearl both a curse, a living embodiment of the A and its shame, and paradoxically, a blessing.
A blessing.
Because she compels Hester to confront her truth daily, never allowing her to forget or escape. And Hester's morbid purpose in dressing Pearl so magnificently It's complex. It's fierce, protective love, yes, but also open defiance against societal norms and a profound channeling of her own suppressed creativity and rich inner world. It's a defiant act of artistry against a society trying to strip her of all beauty.
Hester's quiet, isolated life, however, is soon disrupted by a new threat. She learns of a design by some of the leading inhabitants to deprive her of her child.
They want to take Pearl away.
Exactly. There's this deeply ingrained societal belief that Pearl, as a demon offspring, a child born of Finn, would be better raised by others. It reflects the inflexible principles in religion and government of the time.
Of course, for her own good.
Right. This perceived injustice compels Hester to visit Governor Bellingham's mansion. Ostensibly, she's delivering embroidered gloves as a pretense, but her true mission is to defend her right, her mother's right, to keep Pearl.
She has to fight for her.
The governor's house itself is described with this cheery aspect, adorned with stucco and broken glass that glittered and sparkled as if diamonds had been flung against it.
Sounds fancy.
Yet Pearl, looking at this dazzling facade, capers and dances, demanding that the whole breadth of sunshine should be stripped off its front and given her to play with. Hester's poignant reply, "No, my little Pearl, I have none to give thee," just highlights the profound weight of her existence.
Oof, that hits hard. The outward splendor of the governor's house stands in powerful contrast to the internal rigidity and moral austerity of Puritan society. It's almost an illusion of perfection. A shimmering facade masking a harsh, inflexible reality, where even statesmen of eminence took sides on a child's welfare, believing they knew best for the child of a sinner. This sparkling house represents a community that values outward appearance and strict adherence to moral codes, even if it means denying a child to her mother.
Yeah.
Hester's poignant statement, "I have none to give thee," connects directly to her own burdened existence. She herself lives under this constant shadow, unable to fully embrace the sunshine of societal acceptance or joy. And this burden, this lack of unadulterated happiness, is implicitly passed on to Pearl. It's a stark illustration of the theme of external appearance versus the often painful internal reality.
Inside the governor's hall, Hester faces this truly formidable group, a veritable tribunal. You've got Governor Bellingham himself, the venerable Reverend Mr. Wilson, the young Reverend Mr. Dinsdale, whose spiritual power is legendary, and, most ominously, Roger Chillingworth, now firmly embedded as a respected physician in the community.
The whole gang's there.
Right. Pearl, true to her wild nature, behaves capriciously. She lets out an eldritch scream, dances and capers, almost mocking the solemnity. This leads Mr. Wilson to remark, "The little baggage hath witchcraft in her."
Oh, dangerous words.
Terrifying accusation in Puritan society. When Mr. Wilson directly interrogates Pearl about her religious education, her defiant, almost primal reply is that she was plucked by my mother off the bush that grows by the prison door.
Wow. What an answer.
It's a powerful symbolic answer, deeply connected to her wild, untamed nature, and it throws the Puritan elders into profound disarray.
This scene perfectly encapsulates the conflict, doesn't it?
Huh?
Legal authority, societal expectation, maternal right, all clashing. But what truly makes this moment electrifying is Reverend Dinsdale's unexpected and impassioned defense of Hester.
Dinsdale steps up.
He does. This is Pearl's secret father, after all. And he argues with this profound, almost desperate eloquence that God gave her the child and gave her, too, an instinctive knowledge of its nature and requirements.
Bold words.
Very bold. He bravely suggests that Pearl is both a blessing and a retribution, keeping Hester from blacker depths of sin and preventing her from succumbing to despair. He makes the remarkable, almost subversive assertion that if she bring the triple to heaven, the child also will bring its parent thither.
Whoa.
This is a pivotal moment, not only for Hester's fate, but for Dinsdale himself. It reveals his profound empathy, certainly, but also, for the perceptive reader, the deep currents of his own hidden guilt and his desperate, unconscious need to protect a part of himself, a part of their shared secret, through Pearl. He cannot allow them to take the child, because in doing so, he'd effectively be denying a fundamental truth of his own soul.
So Pearl remains with Hester, a small victory, but one laden with new tension. As the decision is made, Hawthorne draws our attention to Chillingworth's strange earnestness, this glint in his eye.
He's watching, always watching.
He smiles chillingly at Dinsdale and asks a question that, on the surface, seems benign, yet is laced with sinister intent. Would it be beyond a philosopher's research to analyze that child's nature and from its make and mold to give a shrewd guess at the father?
Ooh, not subtle at all. A direct probe.
It's a thinly veiled threat, isn't it? A public declaration of his intention to discover the truth.
This exchange just underscores Chillingworth's rapidly growing suspicion and his calculated, relentless pursuit of the secret. He's not merely a physician offering a cure anymore. He is becoming the leech, as Hawthorne aptly describes him, burrowing into the soul of his unsuspecting victim.
The leech. Perfect description.
This scene solidifies the intricate emotional and psychological web connecting Hester, Pearl, Dimmesdale, and Chillingworth. It sets the stage for the deepening psychological drama that will unfold. Chillingworth is now no longer just observing. He's actively manipulating, driven by a singular dark purpose. This question, ostensibly about Pearl's nature, is a direct challenge to Dimmesdale, a way to test his reactions and to signal to Hester that he is closing in. It's a cruel game, and Dimmesdale is, as yet, unaware he's even a player.
Following this tense encounter, Chillingworth seamlessly integrates himself further into the community, solidifying his position as this highly skilled physician.
Making himself indispensable.
Exactly. He's considered a brilliant acquisition because doctors were scarce. His medical expertise is impressive, combining antique physic, the European stuff he learned as a scholar, with the practical knowledge of native herbs and roots he picked up during his Indian captivity.
So he knows both worlds of medicine.
Right. And everyone hopes he can bring these considerable talents to bear on the ailing Reverend Mr. Dimmesdale, whose form grew emaciated and whose voice had a certain melancholy prophecy of decay.
He's clearly unwell.
But the townspeople, blinded by their reverence, just think he's overworked, a victim of his own saintliness, a minister sacrificing himself for his flock.
If only they knew. We, as informed listeners, understand the far more insidious nature of Chillingworth's cure. He, initially perceived as the man of skill, the kind and friendly physician, becomes Dimmesdale's medical advisor, not out of pure compassion, but with this predatory focus because not only the disease interested the physician, but how strongly, too, the patient.
He's fascinated by Dimmesdale himself.
Exactly. Chillingworth embarks on this meticulous, almost scientific psychological investigation. He's delving among his principles, prying into his recollections, and probing everything with a cautious touch, like a treasure seeker in a dark cavern. This isn't healing. It's slow, deliberate torment, an intellectual dissection of a soul.
It's horrifying.
And what's profoundly unsettling and deeply insightful is the subtle yet profound change in Chillingworth's physical appearance. Hawthorne describes him becoming uglier, darker, and increasingly fiend-like.
Really, he starts to look evil.
As if his inner malevolence is literally manifesting outwardly, twisting his features. The public, though largely oblivious to his true intent, begins to whisper, to suspect he might be Satan's emissary, a sinister force at work. It's a masterful portrayal of how inner corruption can disfigure the outward self.
A truly pivotal conversation unfolds between Dimmesdale and Chillingworth in Dimmesdale's study. It overlooks the graveyard, a symbolically potent setting.
Definitely sets the mood.
Dimmesdale exhibits this telling peculiarity that he seldom looked straight forth at any object, a physical symptom of his profound hidden guilt and psychological evasion.
Can't look people in the eye.
Exactly. Chillingworth, ever the manipulator, points out a collection of ugly weeds he's gathered from an unmarked grave, stating chillingly that they grew out of his heart and typify some hideous secret that was buried with him. Ugh. Subtle as a brick.
This leads to a deep, agonizing debate about hidden sin and confession. Chillingworth, pretending academic interest, argues for open confession for the soul's relief. But Dimmesdale fiercely defends the right to keep secrets, even for those who appear pure as new-fallen snow, outwardly, but whose hearts are speckled and spotted with iniquity.
Defending himself, basically.
He justifies secrecy by arguing that public shame might prevent one from doing good for the community.
This is such a masterful psychological battle, a verbal fencing match between them, and it's so revealing of Dimmesdale's profound internal conflict. Dimmesdale's rationalizations for secrecy, preserving his ability to minister, maintaining his public image, are directly challenged by Chillingworth, who sees them not as piety but as self-deception and moral cowardice. Chillingworth asserts they fear to take up the shame that rightfully belongs to them.
Oof, direct hit. The dramatic irony here is exquisite and, frankly, excruciating. We, the audience, know the secret. We know Chillingworth's true identity, but Dimmesdale remains tragically unaware. This makes his vulnerability all the more poignant and his elaborate defenses against confession all the more heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's painful to watch.
It forces us to ponder that profound question. How much suffering is truly self-inflicted by withholding truth, by carrying that hidden burden, and how much is imposed by an external malevolent force, like Chillingworth, mercilessly preying on his victim's inner torment. It's a deeply disturbing dynamic.
And then the moment of chilling confirmation for Chillingworth.
The reveal, sort of.
From the adjacent graveyard, Pearl's clear, wild laughter rings out as she dances with almost impish glee on a tombstone.
Pearl always knows.
Pearl, with her uncanny intuition, points to Dimmesdale's hand, which is almost always clutched over his heart, making this direct, unsettling connection to Hester's Scarlet letter. Dimmesdale, flustered, dismisses it as mere child's play.
But Chillingworth sees.
But Chillingworth's gaze, sharp and predatory, intensifies. He leans in, asking with unnerving calm, "You would tell me, then, that I know all." It's not long after this, in a truly horrifying scene, that while Dimmesdale is sleeping, Chillingworth discovers something on his breast.
He looks under the shirt.
The text doesn't explicitly state what it is, but it was powerfully implied to be a self-inflicted mark, a deeply embedded symbol mirroring Hester's A. Chillingworth's reaction is a ghastly rapture, ecstasy of joy, a truly fiendish delight that confirms his horrifying success.
This moment marks the horrifying climax of Chillingworth's burrowing into Dimmesdale's soul. That ghastly rapture isn't just satisfaction, it's a demonic triumph. It confirms his darkest suspicions and validates his meticulous, cruel investigation.
He's got him.
Chillingworth has, with this discovery, truly found his victim. His patient inquiry has yielded its dark fruit. From this point forward, their relationship shifts irreversibly, completely, from doctor-patient to tormentor-tormented. The psychological torture intensifies exponentially, as Chillingworth now possesses the ultimate leverage over the minister, ensuring his prolonged and excruciating agony. He has uncovered the hidden wound, and he intends to continually pick at it, ensuring Dimmesdale's living death.
With Chillingworth's dark discovery, Dimmesdale's internal agony just spirals, driving him to the brink. This profound torment culminates in a nighttime vigil on the very scaffold where Hester had stood years before.
Oh, the scaffold again.
Now it's a ghostly mirror of her public shame. He subjects himself to increasingly severe self-punishments, fasts until his knees trembled, vigils in utter darkness, where he contemplates his own face in a looking-glass under a powerful light, reflecting his constant torturous introspection and self-loathing.
He's punishing himself physically now.
And he's plagued by disturbing visions, spectral thoughts of his dead parents, and most vividly, Hester and Pearl gliding through his chamber, Pearl pointing her forefinger first at the scarlet letter on her bosom, and then at the clergyman's own breast. A relentless internal accusation that offers no peace.
Dimmesdale's psychological state here is just one of profound, agonizing torment. And it's exacerbated by the crushing weight of hypocrisy.
Because everyone loves him.
Exactly. His public veneration, where he is paradoxically seen as a miracle of holiness, a saint, only intensifies his agony, making him feel like the dimmest of all shadows, a hollow shell. He even attempts a vague confession from the pulpit, calling himself vile and pollution.
Does it work?
No. The congregation, unable to reconcile their saintly minister with such words, interprets this as profound humility, which, with bitter irony, only makes them reverence him the more.
Oh, that's awful, Trap.
It highlights the profound irony and the devastating psychological consequences of such a life. His attempts at honesty are twisted into further adoration, trapping him deeper in his web of deceit. It forces us to ask, what is the true cost of maintaining a public facade of purity when your inner self is racked with secret guilt? The burden is not only spiritual but profoundly mental, leading him to the brink of madness.
On that obscure night of early May, Dimmesdale, alone on the scaffold, completely overwhelmed, lets out this desperate shriek aloud.
A scream in public.
Fortunately for him, the sleeping townspeople mistake it for something frightful in a dream or for the noise of witches, narrowly averting his public exposure.
Close call.
Then, almost comically, yet adding to his terror, Governor Bellingham and Father Wilson appear, creating moments of near discovery and intense anxiety for Dimmesdale. Just as he's about to give up, Hester and Pearl arrive, returning from Governor Winthrop's deathbed.
Hester and Pearl find him there.
Dimmesdale, in his desperation, his raw need for connection, for a shared burden, calls out, "Come up hither, Hester, thou and little Pearl, and we will stand all three together."
It's a moment of profound, albeit private, longing for shared truth.
This midnight vigil on the scaffold, it's a partial private confession, isn't it? But tragically, it fails to bring Dimmesdale full relief.
No real peace.
The symbolism of the trio, Hester, Pearl, and Dimmesdale, standing on the scaffold, the very locus of Hester's public shame, in the noon of that strange and solemn splendor, is striking. It's as if, for that moment, they are bathed in the light that is to reveal all secrets.
And then the sky lights up.
And what makes this scene truly unforgettable is the celestial phenomenon. An immense letter, the letter A, marked out in lines of dull red light in the sky.
A meteor A.
The differing interpretations are crucial. Dimmesdale's guilty imagination, projecting his own inner torment, saw an A for adultery, the mark of his sin. In contrast, the sexton, completely oblivious, later interprets it as A for angel, signifying Governor Winthrop's passing. Wow, everyone sees what they want to see.
It highlights the subjective nature of perception, the profound human capacity for denial, and the community's desperate need to maintain its illusions of purity, even in the face of what might be a divine sign.
And through it all, like a shadow, Chillingworth is there, observing everything.
Of course he is.
Pearl, with her uncanny intuition and fierce honesty, points her small finger at Chillingworth, who stands at no great distance from the scaffold, with malevolence starkly visible on his face. A malevolence. Dimmesdale, in his heightened state, sees with the same glance that discerned the miraculous letter.
He finally sees Chillingworth's evil.
Later, when Dimmesdale, still clinging to his secrecy, refuses to promise to stand with them publicly at noon, Pearl, embodying the demand for truth, challenges him. "Thou wast not bold. Thou wast not true. Thou wast not promised to take my hand and mother's hand tomorrow noontide."
Ouch. Straight from the mouths of babes.
Then Chillingworth, ever the master of veiled threats and insidious control, approaches, offering feigned concern. "Pious Master Dimmesdale, can this be you? I pray you let me lead you home." It's a chilling reassertion of his power over the minister.
This night on the scaffold definitively confirms Chillingworth's suspicions, solidifying his certainty about Dimmesdale's guilt and further intensifying his dark, vengeful project. Pearl's words, "Thou wast not bold, thou wast not true," cut to the very core of the novel's central theme of truth versus hypocrisy. Her intuitive moral clarity acts as a relentless, unforgiving mirror, reflecting the minister's profound weakness and deceit. Dimmesdale's internal torment is now not only fully understood by Hester, who shares his secret, but also undeniably confirmed for Chillingworth. It sets up the subsequent, accelerating trajectory of the story toward its tragic climax. The net tightens, and the minister's agony is destined to become public.
7 long years have now passed since Hester first stood on that scaffold, and her standing in the community has undergone this remarkable, almost miraculous transformation.
People see her differently now.
Completely. The Scarlet Letter ceased to be a stigma, and for many began to signify able or even angel associated with her many good deeds. She lives with a studied austerity of her dress and a lack of demonstration in her manners, dedicating herself to quiet, tireless acts of charity and service.
She earns their respect back, slowly.
She becomes a de facto counselor for troubled women, a figure of strength and solace, her quiet dignity slowly eroding the initial condemnation.
This transformation in public perception is a powerful commentary on the resilience of the human spirit, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the slow, grinding process of redemption through endurance and self-reliance.
Yeah.
The community, initially despotic in its judgment, eventually grants Hester more than justice, changing the letter's meaning from shame to a type of something to be sorrowed over and looked upon with awe.
From shame to awe. Incredible.
What's truly profound here is that in her enforced isolation, Hester has gained this unique latitude of speculation. Thoughts visited her, Hawthorne says, such as dared to enter no other dwelling in New England.
She becomes a free thinker?
Exactly. These radical ideas, forged in solitude and suffering, make her a potential prophetess of a new, more humane social order. It highlights her profound intellectual and moral growth, a stark, compelling contrast to Dimmesdale's continued spiritual and physical decline in his state of hidden guilt. Her suffering has made her stronger, wiser, and more empathetic.
Witnessing Dimmesdale's state, though, his absolutely destroyed nerve, his childish weakness during their previous brief, painful interview, Hester is shocked to her core.
She sees how bad it's gotten.
This realization, this profound empathy for his suffering, spurs her to action. It compels her to do what might be in her power for the rescue of the victim. She seeks out Chillingworth.
But she decides to confront him.
She confronts him in a retired part of the peninsula as he gathers herbs, a setting symbolic of his shadowy, parasitic nature. The description of Chillingworth is truly chilling. A glare of red loot out of his eyes, as if the old man's soul were on fire. A literal manifestation of his consuming vengeance.
He's burning with hate.
Hester confronts him directly, with a courage born of her own suffering, accusing him, "Your clutches on his life, and you cause him to die daily a living death, and still he knows you not."
This confrontation between Hester and Chillingworth is such a dramatic turning point. It's a clash between redemptive love and corrosive vengeance. Chillingworth's response is a chilling admission of his own profound transformation. A mortal man, with once a human heart, has become a fiend for his especial torment.
He admits it.
He even experiences this momentary look of horror at his own reflection in a nearby brook. A rare, fleeting glimpse of self-awareness, a recognition of the monster he has become.
Wow, a moment of clarity.
What's truly fascinating is his confession that his life had been made up of earnest, studious, thoughtful, quiet years before vengeance transformed him. This sharply contrasts with his current fiend-like state, emphasizing the destructive power of obsession.
He wasn't always like this.
Hester, in a desperate plea for both Dimmesdale's soul and perhaps a glimmer of Chillingworth's former humanity, urges him to purge it out of thee and be once more human. But Chillingworth's response is fatalistic, a resigned acceptance of his dark fate. It is our fate. Let the black flower blossom as it may.
No turning back for him.
He recognizes he is beyond redemption, fully consumed by his dark purpose. It's a chilling testament to the self-perpetuating nature of hatred.
Amidst these weighty, almost agonizing exchanges, Pearl continues to be Pearl.
Always observing.
A constant, vivid reminder of the untamed truth. She's described making a green letter for herself from eelgrass that looked freshly green instead of scarlet. A child's innocent mimicry of her mother's burden, yet with a natural twist.
Green instead of red, nature's version.
And with her characteristic, almost unsettling perceptiveness, she asks Hester what this letter means which thy mother is doomed to wear. And with an intuitive leap that pierces the core of the hidden truth, why does the minister keep his hand over his heart?
She connects the dots.
These aren't just childish questions, they are probes into the very heart of the mystery.
Pearl's insistent probing acts as this persistent moral compass, doesn't it? A constant, unwavering challenge to the hidden truth. Her questions, seemingly innocent, reveal a remarkable precocity and acuteness that adults often lack.
Yeah.
Hester's internal conflict over how much to reveal to her child highlights the immense burden of the secret and the complexity of protecting innocence while confronting harsh realities. Pearl's intuitive awareness links the physical symbol on Hester's bosom to the unseen spiritual torment of Dimmesdale. She's not just an innocent child or a mere symbol. She plays a unique and vital role in driving the narrative toward its inevitable revelation. She embodies the inescapable consequences of concealed sin and the innate human yearning for truth. Her questions refuse to let the secret lie buried.
Driven by her fierce resolve to rescue Dimmesdale from Chillingworth's insidious torment, Hester embarks on this clandestine journey with Pearl into the mystery of the primeval forest.
Off the grid, into nature.
It's a deliberate escape from the suffocating strictures of Puritan Boston. The day is chill and somber, and to Hester's mind, the forest hemmed it in so narrowly it imaged not amiss the moral wilderness in which she had so long been wandering. This isn't just a physical place, it's a reflection of her inner turmoil.
The landscape reflects the soul.
Pearl, with her untamed spirit, plays playfully with the fleeting sunshine that puces the canopy, observing with unsettling insight, "I am but a child. It will not flee from me, for I wear nothing on my bosom yet."
Oof. Another sharp observation from Pearl.
It's a poignant reminder of her unique innocence and freedom from the mark of shame.
The forest, in this context, serves as this deeply symbolic space, a moral wilderness standing in stark, powerful contrast to the rigid, rule-bound Puritan settlement. It promises to consider, how does the wildness of nature offer a different kind of freedom and truth? A sanctuary where human institutions and their laws momentarily dissolve, allowing authentic human emotion to emerge. Pearl's natural affinity for the mother forest and her easy, almost spiritual interactions with wild creatures, a partridge, a fox, even a wolf, its hinted underscore her untamed nature. Her role as a child of nature, uncorrupted by society's strictures. Her innocent observation about the sunshine highlights her freedom from the A and its accompanying shame, setting a poignant scene for the momentous discussion to come. A fragile moment of possibility outside the bounds of human law.
In a secluded dell deep within the forest's embrace, Hester and Dimmesdale finally meet. It's a reunion charged with desperation and despair. Dimmesdale appears as a mere shadow, consumed by nerveless despondency.
He's wasting away.
Almost unrecognizable from the vibrant minister he once was. Their shared recognition is awe-stricken, as if each a ghost, an awe-stricken at the other ghost. A poignant testament to the toll their hidden sin has taken.
Ghosts of their former selves.
Dimsdale, utterly broken, confesses his profound torment, his voice raw with agony. I have tortured myself. God's eye is on me. I am a pollution and a lie. He turns to Hester, desperate, begging, "Think for me, Hester, thou art strong, resolve for me." He is utterly spent, turning to her for a strength he no longer possesses.
This is such a profound, shattering turning point in their relationship. In this moment of Dimsdale's absolute despair, Hester's remarkable strength and vision finally emerge, honed by years of suffering and solitary thought.
She takes charge.
She recognizes that Dimsdale must dwell no longer with this man, meaning Chillingworth, and that thy heart must be no longer under his evil eye. With extraordinary courage and a bold imagination, she proposes a radical escape, a defiant rejection of their Puritan shackles.
Run away together.
Whither leads yonder forest track, she asks. Onward, too. Deeper it goes, and deeper into the wilderness. There thou art free. She envisions Dimsdale shedding his false identity, becoming a teacher and apostle of the Red Men, or a scholar and a sage in Europe.
A whole new life.
Hester, outlawed from society, has gained this latitude of speculation, a freedom of thought, altogether foreign to the clergyman, enabling her to envision a new life beyond Puritan constraints, a life of freedom and authenticity that Dimsdale, ensnared by his own guilt, cannot conceive on his own. It's a truly revolutionary act of love and hope.
In a powerful act of shared hope and profound transformation, a moment that feels almost sacred, Hester, with a decisive gesture.
Yes.
She undid the clasp that fastened the scarlet letter and, taking it from her bosom, threw it to a distance among the withered leaves.
She takes it off.
Finally.
And almost immediately, as if nature itself responds to this liberation, a flood of sunshine bursts forth, piercing the forest canopy, gladdening each green leaf. Hester's face, softened by the light, transforms. Her radiant and tender smile returns, bringing back her youth and the whole richness of her beauty.
Wow. The sun comes out.
Dimsdale, too, feels a momentary joy and peace, a fragile glimpse of what a life unburdened could be. It's a momentary Eden, a vision of redemption. This moment is absolutely packed with potent symbolism. Hawthorne's masterful control of atmosphere and meaning is just incredible. The removal of the letter is this symbolic act of breaking free from the past, a conscious attempt to shed the burden of shame. And the immediate environmental change, the sudden flood of sunshine, underscores nature's profound sympathy with their momentary bliss. It suggests that true love, whether newly born or aroused from a death-like slumber, must always create a sunshine, filling the heart with a radiance that overflows onto the outward world, affecting even the physical landscape.
A beautiful image.
It's a fleeting, precious glimpse of what redemption and freedom could feel like. A world, however temporary, unburdened by past sin and societal judgment. It's a radical vision of a different kind of truth.
But this glimmer of hope, this fleeting vision of Eden, is tragically short-lived.
Oh no. Here comes Pearl.
Pearl returns to them, but she stops abruptly at the edge of the brook, refusing to cross. She shrieked aloud and stood wildly gesticulating across the stream, pointing its small forefinger at Hester's bosom.
Pointing where the letter should be.
Hester immediately understands the profound, unyielding message. The child sees nothing else, save the scarlet letter. She is never pleased with what I do. If I have cast it off, she must needs laugh at my undeserving thereof.
She doesn't recognize her mother without it.
With a heavy heart, her face falling back into its habitual sadness, Hester reluctantly advanced to the margin of the brook, took up the scarlet letter, and fastened it again into her bosom. And just as quickly, as if in direct response, the sunshine vanishes, and the gloom of the forest reclaims them. It's a heartbreaking symbol of the inescapable past.
Pearl's reaction here is incredibly powerful. It acts as this relentless, almost elemental insistence on truth and the inescapable consequences of sin. Pearl cannot accept her mother without the symbol that defines their shared past and identity. The truth, for Pearl, cannot simply be flung away.
She is the letter, in a way.
She is a child of the letter, and it is integral to her understanding of her mother and her own existence. The immediate return of gloom, the vanishing sunshine, powerfully emphasizes the enduring, almost gravitational power of the symbol and the inevitable doom that Hester, and by extension Dimsdale, still feels. It forces us to confront a profound question. Can one truly escape their past? Or must it be confronted and integrated, even when it means embracing enduring shame? Pearl, in her unyielding nature, forces that painful confrontation. Some truths cannot simply be wished away.
Returning from the forest, Dimsdale is utterly transformed. He feels a change, but not in his consciousness like the lapse of years, but this profound shift within his very being.
How does it manifest?
Instead of finding peace, he feels incited to do some strange, wild, wicked thing or other. He barely restrains himself from uttering blasphemies to a venerable deacon and pointedly, almost cruelly, ignores a young sister who looks up to him with innocent reverence.
Whoa. He wants to act out.
It seems so. He even encounters Mistress Hiddens, the reputed witch lady, who with chill and shrewdness hints at his forest visit and their shared secret, declaring, "When the black man sees one of his own servants signed and sealed, so shy of owning to the bond, he hath a way of ordering matters so that the mark shall be disclosed in open daylight."
She knows, or senses it. A dark prophecy.
It's a terrifying confirmation of his impending doom.
This transformation in Dimmesdale after the forest meeting is one of the novel's most fascinating psychological insights. It's a wiser one with a knowledge of hidden mysteries, but that wisdom is deeply unsettling.
Yeah, wisdom seems like the wrong word.
His newfound, albeit fleeting, freedom from repression, the glimpse of a life unburdened, manifests not as purity, but as this powerful, almost Dionysian temptation towards sin. It's as if a profounder self, long suppressed, is emerging a wild, untamed aspect of his nature that craves transgression after years of rigid control.
The lid came off.
Exactly. Mistress Hibbins, in this context, is far more than just a stock witch figure. She's a representative of the wild, untamed forces existing outside Puritan society's rigid control. She possesses an intuitive understanding others lack, seeing through the minister's carefully constructed hypocrisy and serving as a dark prophetess of the truth about to be revealed. She's the embodiment of the very wilderness that has seeped into Dimmesdale's soul.
The scene then shifts brilliantly to Election Day, a New England holiday.
The big public event.
It's a fascinating spectacle, contrasting the usual Puritan solemnity with glimpses of unwanted jollity inherited from Elizabethan England, wrestling, quarterstaff games, though pointedly no theatrical shows.
Some fun, but not too much fun.
Right. The crowd itself is this vivid tapestry of colonial life. Grave, bearded gentlemen, matronly dames, eager and curious schoolboys, a party of Indians in their savage finery, and even a group of mariners, a part of the crew of the vessel from the Spanish Main.
Sailors. Rough characters.
Described as rough, licensed desperados, symbolizing the wildness at the fringes of their ordered society. And it's here, amidst this bustling, expectant scene, that reputable a citizen as old Roger Chillingworth, the physician, was seen to enter the marketplace in close and familiar talk with the commander of the questionable vessel.
Uh-oh. Chillingworth and the ship captain.
Subtly, chillingly, making arrangements for passage.
This atmosphere of public celebration masks deep currents of tension and profound foreshadowing. It's the calm before the storm. The presence of the sailors, allowed freedoms not afforded to others, highlights the incomplete morality of the age, a selective, hypocritical application of Puritan law.
Rules for thee, not for me.
Kind of. It shows a society tolerating certain sins while vehemently condemning others. Chillingworth's conversation with the shipmaster is a truly insidious detail. It subtly reveals his counterplan, to ensure Dimmesdale cannot escape on the very ship Hester and Dimmesdale plan to take.
He's going to follow them.
This ratchets up the suspense for us, demonstrating his relentless pursuit, even as the day unfolds as a community celebration. He remains a shadow, pulling strings, controlling his victim's fate with meticulous cruelty.
The procession of magistrates and ministers begins, leading to Dimmesdale's much-anticipated election sermon. Dimmesdale appears with a great energy and almost supernatural inspiration which had held him up, giving him a preternatural activity.
He seems strong again, outwardly.
Hester, watching him from the fringes, perceives him as so remote from her own sphere and utterly beyond her reach. A figure of such elevated spiritual authority that their forest meeting now feels like a delusion, a brief, impossible dream.
The distance between them feels huge again.
Yet the power of Dimmesdale's voice, described as a loud or low expression of anguish speaking a tongue native to the human heart, causes the entire congregation to feel a deep strain of pathos. He is truly at the height of his public power, and yet also at his most isolated.
The power and profound hypocrisy of Dimmesdale's sermon are central to this climax. That deep strain of pathos listeners detected was, as Hawthorne brilliantly describes, the complaint of a human heart, sorrow-laden, perchance guilty, telling its secret to the great heart of mankind.
So the sermon was a confession, in a way.
An unspoken one. The sermon, outwardly triumphant, is another, perhaps his most profound, unspoken confession. A poignant irony where his immense spiritual power actually derives in a twisted way from his hidden sin and the agony it causes.
Meanwhile,
Hester stands statue-like at the foot of the scaffold, drawn by an inevitable magnetism in that spot, connecting her whole orb of life to it. Her defining moment began there, and it is destined to culminate there too. It's a stark visual echo, binding their fates irrevocably.
And then the dramatic, devastating climax unfolds. After the sermon, Dimmesdale, feeble and pale, yet with this newfound desperate resolve, makes his way to the scaffold where Hester and Pearl stand.
He goes to the scaffold voluntarily.
Chillingworth, ever present, ever insidious, delivers his final, chilling words to Dimmesdale. Hadst thou sought the whole earth over, there was no one place so secret, where thou wouldst have escaped me, save on this very scaffold.
The one place he couldn't reach him. Public confession.
But Dimmesdale, with a fierce, triumphant declaration that resonates through the shocked crowd, finally exposes his truth. Behold this woman, and behold another air-drawn scarlet letter, which God hath stilled upon this breast of mine. He tore away the ministerial band from before his breast. It was revealed.
He shows them mark.
In that raw, agonizing moment, Pearl, who had longed for this truth, for a father to acknowledge her, finally kisses him. A spell was broken, Hawthorne tells us. Dimmesdale's dying words to Chillingworth are profound, a final act of mercy and judgment. May God forgive thee, thou too hast deeply sinned.
This is the profound, shattering impact of Dimmesdale's revelation. The multitude is struck by horror and wonder, and the differing accounts of what they saw on his breast. Some claimed a letter A, some nothing but the effect of the agonizing remorse. Some blamed Chillingworth's dark arts, emphasized the ambiguity, the subjective nature of truth itself.
People couldn't even agree on what they saw.
Dimmesdale's death, immediately following his public confession, is interpreted by some as his open triumph over the evil within thee and the sorrow without, achieving a form of infinite purity through this final agonizing act of honesty. Yet Hawthorne also offers a darker, more nuanced perspective, suggesting that the ruined wall of guilt is never, in this mortal state, repaired.
The damage remains.
It compels us to ponder. Is public confession always fully redemptive? Or does it merely shift the burden, leaving behind enduring damage and questions about true expiation and the lasting scars of sin? It's a complex, unresolved question that haunts the reader long after his death.
In the immediate aftermath of Dimmesdale's death, Chillingworth's decline is swift and absolute.
He just falls apart.
All his strength and energy, all his vital and intellectual force seemed at once to desert him. He literally withered up, shriveled away, and almost vanished from mortal sight, dying within a year. It's as if his sole purpose for existence was tied entirely to his victim. With Dimmesdale's escape through death and confession, Chillingworth's reason for being simply evaporated.
Chillingworth's rapid demise is such a potent commentary on the self-destructive nature of pure, unadulterated vengeance. His existence was defined solely by his obsessive desire for revenge. Once his object escaped him, Chillingworth ceased to have a purpose.
No fuel left for the fire.
Exactly. What's truly insightful here is the philosophical suggestion that the two passions, love and hatred, seem essentially the same, differing only in their celestial radiance or dusky and lurid glow. This highlights the destructive, all-consuming power of obsession, which, once deprived of its focus, leaves a void that cannot sustain life. His hatred was, in a twisted, perverse way, his very life force. Without it, he simply withered away.
And what of Hester and Pearl, the two survivors of this profound drama?
What happens to them?
They disappeared from Boston for many years, for so long that the story of the Scarlet Letter grew into a legend, almost a ghost story whispered in the colony.
They got away.
But eventually, Hester returned of her own free will. She resumed the symbol on her bosom, which, by then, ceased to be a stigma. Instead, it became a type of something to be sorrowed over, a mark of respect and a hard-won wisdom.
She came back. Wow. And wore the letter again.
Pearl, meanwhile, is believed to have inherited a significant wealth from Chillingworth, a final, ironic twist.
Chillingworth left Pearl money.
Apparently so. And she's thought to have married into a noble family in Europe, finding happiness and a new life far beyond the strictures of the Puritan settlement. She's the one who truly escapes.
Hester's final transformation is arguably the most profound in the novel. She becomes this figure of wisdom and solace, a prophetess whose empathy, gained through immense suffering and years of quiet service, guides and counsels others in their own moments of despair.
She turns her suffering into wisdom for others.
She doesn't flee her past, but courageously reintegrates it, transforming the meaning of the letter through her actions and the life she builds. Pearl's escape, on the other hand, signifies hope for a new generation, unburdened by the direct shame, yet undoubtedly shaped by its legacy. Her ability to find happiness and a new identity beyond the Puritan world offers a glimpse of possibility.
Different paths to redemption, maybe.
It truly compels us to consider a complex question. Is true redemption ultimately found in public revelation like Dimmesdale saw? Or in quiet, devoted service and transformation like Hester achieved? Or in escaping the past altogether to forge a new future, as Pearl demonstrates? The Scarlet Letter offers different, often ambiguous paths, inviting us to weigh their choices.
Ultimately, Hester and Dimmesdale find their final resting place in a new grave, near an old and sunken one, but with a space between as if the dust of the two sleepers had no right to mingle.
Separated even in death.
Yet, in a final, powerful gesture, one shared tombstone serves for both. Its single, stark inscription reads, "On a field, sable, the letter A, duels."
A red A on a black background.
Symbolizing the enduring power and pervasive nature of the Scarlet Letter, a mark that transcends even death, forever linking their intertwined fates.
This final image is incredibly evocative. It emphasizes the indelible mark of sin and its profound multi-generational consequences, even while hinting at the possibility of growth, empathy, and a different kind of heroism born from that suffering. The A as a symbol evolves dramatically in meaning throughout the novel Adultery, Abel, Angel, Awe, but it never truly disappears.
It stays with them.
It reflects how personal history inextricably shapes individual identity and collective memory, forever remaining a part of the landscape, a permanent inscription on the human heart. It leaves us contemplating the deep, resonant echoes of sin and redemption, and how a symbol can gain power far beyond its original intent.
And there you have it. We've journeyed through the intricate layers of the Scarlet Letter, unpacking its complex characters, enduring themes, and hidden meanings. It's a story that compels us to reflect on how societal judgment, personal guilt, and hidden truths continue to resonate in contemporary life.
Still relevant.
I encourage you to consider the enduring questions of morality, forgiveness, and the courage to live authentically, even when faced with the harshest scrutiny.
This profound narrative really prompts us to ask ourselves, doesn't it? In a world still grappling with judgment, with its own unspoken rules, and with its countless secrets, what scarlet letters do we, as individuals or societies, choose to wear or perhaps choose to hide today? And at what ultimate cost to our own truth?
And there you have it. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us and this story. If you enjoyed it, a simple like or subscribe helps the channel out more than you know. Be good and take care.